Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, Booked with Juby. It is that time of the month again, and we are doing my November 2025 reading wrap up. And honestly, this month was a ride for books. I had some major 5-star vibes and then some major where I just hated the book so much. And I will tell you guys all about it, and I can't wait to get into it. So let's go. Okay, friends, I finally did it. I finally read Binding 13. And then, of course, I loved this so much that I ran out and got Keeping 13 because, you guys, I get the hype now. I get it. And I'm sorry it took me this long to do it. I really put this off for so long because I was a little intimidated and I was worried about crying, which, heads up, yeah. I sobbed in both of them. I sobbed in this one and I sobbed even more in this one. So, I mean, I guess I like to be hurt. Don't know what that says about me, but I'm fine with it. I'm a reader, right? That's what we do. But honestly, this series, it's pure emotional investment. You got angst. It's a very slow burn, trauma, healing. It's messy teen, so it is technically YA. However, it deals with some pretty serious content. So I would suggest maybe like a little bit older of a reader for it. Probably 16 and older, to be honest with you, at least. And then you got, a huge heart, love, coming together and helping a family. It's just, there's so much dynamics in this book, and truly I sobbed. When I finished this one, I had to immediately run out to get this one because the way this one ended, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was distraught, truthfully. But basically, Binding 13 follows Johnny Kavanagh. He is the Tillman College royalty. He's Mr. Popular. He is athletic. He's everybody's favorite person. He's headed to be this huge rugby star, and he doesn't need distractions. But then in comes Shannon Lynch. She's quiet, painfully shy. She has been bullied her whole life at school, at home. She's not safe anywhere. She's never had a safe place. And she finally gets to go to this other school because the bullying gets so bad at her school that her parents her mom anyway, works hard to get her into this other school to try and make a difference in her life. And really, it's just their first meeting. It's not this like cute meet. It's a little traumatic and dramatic. And these two characters really have to come together to help each other in different ways. Truthfully, the bond between these characters was, just like no other I've ever read. Now, I will say this might not be for you if you don't like a YA or if you don't like a slow burn, because it is a really slow burn. I also will say she gets really graphic about some sports injuries, and she does write, you have two POVs, right? You have Johnny and Shannon. So the Johnny's POV, it really is like a teenage boy. So sometimes I was just like, oh my goodness. But honestly, it was so good. There's just a lot of depth to these books, and I could not put them down. These both were 5 stars for me. I wish I didn't wait so long, but then in a way I'm happy I did because I just adored every single minute of the series, and I can't wait to continue on with some other characters. I know there's some other books. I think there's 4 more, but they don't follow necessarily Johnny and Shannon, but other characters that are in this book, so it's a whole universe, so cannot wait to get into those. Okay, so after that emotionally devastating double back-to-back book that I did, I needed something a lot lighter and fun, and since we're getting into the Christmas spirit and holiday, I decided to do Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. This was my first Tessa Bailey book. This book was really fun. It follows Melody and it follows Beat. I know they're really funny names, but they're a little, I don't know, silly names, I guess, but really like it suits the book. Basically, both of their mothers were in this band back in the day, and they broke up. and each of them has never met each other until they're about 16 years old, but they both relate to each other because they have such famous parents. And basically the book starts with them at 16 meeting, and then it goes on about 15 years later when they're about 30, and they have to come together to get their moms to come back together, perform on New Year's Eve. I really will say this book is technically a Christmas book, but it didn't give as much Christmas as I may have wanted. I did like the story. I thought the story was really interesting. Like, these two characters have to bring their famous mothers back together who absolutely hate each other. And they, fall in love along the way. Again, it just wasn't that Christmassy. Like, I know it took place on Christmas Eve and in the Christmas timeline, but it really wasn't that Christmassy. I actually would have liked to see this book outside of Christmas. This is fine because I guess it was for a New Year's Eve concert, but I don't know. It just wasn't like giving all that like fluffy, like snowy, Christmassy vibes that I really wanted. I definitely liked Melody. I thought Beat was really weird as a main male character. I don't know. I didn't really love him, but I loved Melody. She was funny. She was spunky. Like she always like spoke her mind, and she was authentically herself. Whereas Beat, I don't know. He's just weird. He was really weird. And I will say this is definitely a little bit more of a spicy book. And I just found it a little cringy, like a smidgy, because of Beat and he's got this like weird issue. I don't know. It was fine. So I gave it a 3, I think, because I did like the story, but it wasn't as Christmassy as I would have liked. But it was definitely an easy, quick read if you're looking for something like that. So I'm going to talk about a book that was not my favorite book. I ended up giving it 2 stars. And the only reason it really got 2 stars, truthfully, is because the beginning started out strong, but by the end, it was a completely different book, and the writing almost felt like ChatGPT. I'm trying not to be mean because I don't want to be mean or unkind, but like I don't want to lie either. It was just not well written, and it didn't make any sense. The story started as one thing and completely went to another end, and I'll tell you about it. It was The River is Waiting by Wally Liam, and I know some of you are going to say this was a 5-star read for you, and I love that for you. I just personally, like, it starts off with, Corby, who basically, he lost his job, and he's got twin daughters and a wife, or twin children, a boy and a girl, and a wife. And he lost his job, and he's a stay-at-home parent, and basically he becomes an addict and an alcoholic, and he's drinking all day when he's watching the kids, and nobody knows. He ends up causing a very bad tragedy and has to go to jail. And that was all fine. Like, the beginning of the book, like I said, like, I was gripped from the beginning. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is so devastating. And they kind of went into the backstory of how him and his wife met. And I was like, okay, great. Then it goes, so basically the first, like, this part of the book, fine. Okay. Then from here to here, he's just in jail. And it has nothing to do with him being an addict or trying to find remorse. It's just basically him complaining about being in the jail and all this weird stuff that has nothing to do with the story. Like, I don't know, like, he goes and picks up trash. Now he's got to be like a mentor to some kid who it really honestly like it didn't mean anything to what I thought the story was supposed to be about, which is like redemption and recovery, and showing how like it's not so easy to just stop drinking or being addicted to drugs, and kind of diving into that more. And it started that way, and then really just took a turn into him going to jail and not really doing much about that. And then at the end, I won't ruin it for you, but the end was the dumbest ending I've ever. It had nothing to do with the story, like had nothing to do with addiction, had nothing to do with his recovery, had nothing to do with him having redemption and trying to be a better person. It just was dumb. So again, I gave it a 2, because it started off good and it had a good premise, but it really just fell flat for me, and it actually kind of put me in a reading slump, and I was really scared because I was supposed to read The Sirens after this by Amelia Hart, but I've been really looking forward to that book, so I actually put it off because I was so nervous about ruining that book because of this one. So I don't know if anyone else has ever had an experience like this, and I know the thing that's cool about reading is it's all subjective, right? It's like a book that might resonate with me might not resonate with you, or something that resonates with you might not resonate with me, and that's okay. And it's okay to like and dislike different things, as long as we're being as respectful and kind as we can. But it is okay to say you don't like it, and that's the truth for me. So I'm not going to spend any more time talking about it. I want to move on because I don't want to see this book ever again. So thank God for Emily Henry, because this woman, this was not on my TBR, okay? I actually pulled this one out because I needed something after that stinker of a book that just really made me not in a good mood to be reading. And thank God for Emily Henry, because I read Book Lovers and I loved every minute of it. And I'm so glad I picked this up. This was a 5-star read for me. Thank gosh, we could have really gone downhill there. Honestly, anything Emily Henry writes, I'm here for it. I love them. They are perfect little rom-coms. They're not too spicy. She just has a way of writing that just really resonates with me. It's very contemporary romance. I love all the characters. You know, they're not hard reads. They're not, maybe make you think reads, but they're so enjoyable, and I just had a blast reading this. So I was so thankful for it. But basically, in this book, we follow Nora and Charlie. They are kind of rivals to lovers. It's got the small town vibes, but also city vibes. And it also has a sibling relationship in this with sisters. And as if some of you may know, I have 2 sisters, so like I really understand that dynamic. Nora is this, really career-driven woman, and she is not the Hallmark heroine. And she has fallen privy or trapped to boyfriends that have basically left her to go do the small town Hallmark thing. And this happens over and over and over again. And she ends up going to this place called Sunshine Falls with her sister for a few weeks because her sister really wants her to take this trip with her. She's having another baby. She needs a break before the baby comes. And when she shows up there, her basically arch nemesis in the writing world, Charlie Lastra, shows up. He's from there. And from there, it's just like all those fun, cozy vibes. It was funny. I LOL'd like multiple times. I didn't want to put it down. It was so, so good. And if you like books, this is about books. So like, there's nothing wrong with that. And I hope you all give this a read. Okay, let's talk audiobooks. For November, I actually listened to 2 audiobooks. And the first one I listened to was Nettle Bone by Kingfisher. This is the first audiobook or book that I've ever listened or read of hers, and I genuinely liked it so, so much. This was a very unique fantasy. It wasn't your typical like hardcore epic fantasy. It was very much like a ragtag team of misfits coming together to save the day, and I loved it. I laughed so many times. I thought the characters were all quirky and funny. Basically, you're following Mara, and she's this shy princess who has never been expected to be the hero, and she kind of, after years and years of being this like anti-hero, decides, I need to save the day. I need to save my sister who is being controlled by this abusive prince. So to get the help she needs to complete these 3 tasks. First, she has to build a dog out of bones, and then she has to sew a cloak of nettles, and then she has to capture moonlight in a jar. Now, the book, I will give you a heads up, it does start off with her in the tasks. So when you first start and enter this book, it was a little bit confusing because I just didn't really know what was happening because she's kind of in the middle of doing these tasks. But as the book goes on and it goes back and explains what's going on, it makes a lot more sense. And thankfully, my coworker had warned me about this. So that's why I'm warning you guys. give it a chance, because at first it's a little bit confusing and you're like, I have no idea what's happening. But once you get past that, it all like comes back together and makes a lot more sense. It really gave fairy tale vibes. It was very whimsical. It was creepy at times. Very funny too for a fantasy, which you don't always get, and has all sorts of different characters. You know, we got witches, ex-knights, fairy godmothers, just all sorts of strange things. And it was truly just like a fun listen. I think I gave it a 3.5, and I definitely recommend it. The last audiobook that I listened to was The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. This gave Christmas, and I loved it so, so much. Like, this book, definitely compared to Wreck the Halls, gave the Christmas vibes I was looking for. It's set in Scotland, and I don't know why, but that just made it more Christmassy to me for whatever reason. It was very cozy. It was a very wholesome holiday read. I loved it so much. I just had a blast. And if you guys haven't watched my video of me putting up my Christmas decorations, I was listening to this book while I was doing that. So if you want to check out that video, I talk a lot more about it in there. But honestly, it was so, so good. I loved it. Basically, we follow Carmen and her sister, and mostly Carmen, though. Her sister is in it as well, but mostly Carmen. But she loses her job, and, you know, she's kind of down on herself. Like, her sister's kind of this perfect, or what she perceives as perfect mother. She's got 3 kids. She's got another one on the way. She's got this perfect life. Everything is perfect, perfect, perfect. She's got a big house, a good job, whatever. And Carmen's kind of the like black sheep of the family and doesn't really have anything going for her, or so she thinks. So she loses her job and ends up having to move in with her sister. And that is like her worst nightmare. And her sister also sets her up at this job at a bookstore for one of her clients, who the bookstore is like a mess. It's basically going bankrupt, and Carmen has to come in and basically save the day before Christmas, or else this little old man that runs the bookshop will lose his whole life. And it's so cute. There's a lot of great characters. There's a lot of character building, and it's very character driven, I would say, this book, because, you know, Carmen really goes from this like kind of not so nice like time in her life, and also, you know, maybe not appreciating like all the stuff that her sister does for her, and just kind of, you know, a lot of character development goes on. And it really goes to show like when you get in the right place and the right time, and like the meaning of family, the meaning of Christmas, all of it coming together like a nice little present with a bow on it, you know? I loved every minute of it. I rated this one, I think, a 4, because I just had such a fun time with it. Now the audio, the narrator did have a accent, obviously, because it's based in Scotland. So if that would bother you a little bit, maybe just read it. I think reading it would be just as fun as listening to it. But I loved the whole vibe of the audio. Like, I couldn't get enough of it. It just felt like Christmas to me. And I definitely want to check out the next book in the series, which I think is Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop or something like that. So I'll definitely be looking to do that one before the end of the year as well. So that's everything I read and listened to in November. Overall, I would say the month was a success. I had a lot of 5 stars. We had a little mishap there, which almost took me down, but thank God for Emily Henry. I'll say it over and over again. Thank God, because thank you for saving me. That could have been so, so bad, and I'm so glad that it didn't turn out terribly. Are any of these books that you've read, or are they on your TBR currently? Let me know in the comments what you think, or what you plan on reading, or if you have any December books that you recommend for me, because I'm looking to make my TBR longer as always. And as always, I love you all so, so much. I thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It goes such a long way for me, and I appreciate it so much. And if you all also want to hit the like button, I'd love that so much. You can find me here on YouTube once a week, and I'm also on Instagram and TikTok, Booked with Juby. I love you all so much, and I hope you have a happy reading month. Bye.